Greetings, geniuses. This video is going to cover another topic from the INFJ perspective, as usual. And I'm going to talk about slumps, meaning the low points in our day, week, month that we go through, that we kind of get in a rut from the things that we're trying to accomplish. And grumps, the people that are getting in our way. It could be the same one or two people. It could be miscellaneous strangers or anyone in our circle that maybe doesn't have the best of attitudes, acquaintances, whoever it might be. So slumps and grumps is the topic for today. And I figured I'd bring this up because this week I've kind of been going through one of those times when I just had several different occurrences of things not going my way, and it's so easy to get down. And maybe I wasn't depressed, but just that old thinking kind of slips back in really easily that nothing is really going to change. I can't improve this. I'm just having the same problems in a different light this year compared to last year, and those kinds of things. So I can only give you my only perspective, as usual, and give you some tips and recommendations from what I've learned. But sometimes those sort of ruts can be good, and so it's good to turn them on their head in any way that you can. And what I mean by that is maybe it's showing you to take a break, slow down a little bit. That's one way that I used it, because things were just really bothering me, and so many different things came up and kind of got in the way of my schedule of what I wanted to accomplish for the day. And it kind of drained my energy. So how did I turn that on its head? Well, I kind of just chilled, and I got a little bit more sleep than I normally do because I felt drained. And probably INFJs can sympathize with that statement, because we often get drained by too many people or just too much events happening in the space of a short window of time, because we're very engaged with all of it, and we're trying to learn so much from all of it and be introspective and all those kinds of things. So different events can be very draining, and different people can be very draining. And that's one way I've learned to use that to my advantage, is when I get drained, hey, maybe it's a time to get some extra sleep, rest, naps for a change, which I normally don't do. I probably average 6-ish hours of sleep per night, and I don't really keep track of it. I get as much sleep as I can, but that's probably a pretty good guesstimate. And then at those different times where I feel burnout, tired or whatnot, then I have usually a few days in a row where I'm kind of catching up. And it's not on purpose. I'm trying to improve on that, but there are some physical things that prevent me from sleeping as much as I'd like to. And then, of course, there's just the mental side of it as an INFJ, and always thinking about so many things all the time. So that is one area that I'd like to improve, and we should all try to improve on our sleep, diet, exercise. Those are huge factors alone that we can improve ourselves on, just how we feel, think, act, respond to situations. Those help us tremendously if we just take better care of ourselves. And it's one of those things. It's not rocket science. It's common sense. and everybody knows it, but how many of us do it very well, and how many of us have become sort of masters at taking care of ourselves? Probably a pretty low percentage, and I'm speaking against myself on that one too, at least doing it consistently. So that's always a good thing to mention when we're talking about trying to improve ourselves little by little, because it's always small changes that need to take place. But if we keep working on it 1 year, 5 years, 10 years down the road, we can look back and see, oh wow, I've improved a lot, and I've been on the path that I wanted to go. So again, about the slumps that we go through, it's not easy. That's why we call it a slump or a rut. Or if you're a writer, sometimes I refer to writer's block, or whatever kind of block if you're some sort of creator. Those times are not easy, and another one of the best ways I've tried to use those moments to my advantage is to do something different. Just change it up. Because if you feel like your life is being blocked, or the enemy is getting in your way somehow, whatever that enemy is at the time, first you can identify what that is, call it by name, whether it's fear or shame or life events or things that you've messed up previously and now it's kind of coming back to get you in some way. Hey, it does happen, and it could be lots of different reasons that we're getting into a slump at a particular time. So rather than trying to force your normal routine to happen, which a lot of the times it's really tough to keep those wheels turning when everything is going against you, then maybe it's a good time to redirect and shift down a different road for the day or even week until things kind of get back to what you'd consider your normal pace. That's a really good way to use it in a different way and to even capitalize on the slumps and ruts that you have. And then as far as the grumps, one more time, I've talked many times about you can control yourself. You have the power over yourself in your own life, but you cannot control other people. And you're going to waste a lot of time and energy trying to do that. You could try to manipulate people, but is that really what you want to spend your time doing? And is it worth it? And even if you successfully manipulate somebody to make the right decision, is that going to permanently change their habits, style, motives in the long term? Probably not. It's just going to be a short-term, temporary thing where you could have a win in that area. But again, is it really a win if everything's just going to go back to the way it was for them and you're going to go back to battling them? It's just too time consuming and just takes too much energy when you can focus on yourself. So any moment that you have the haters coming against you or giving you really stupid problems to just get in your way, again, one of the best things you can do is just not focus on them as soon as possible, which I know is not always an instant thing you can do, especially if it's for your boss or a coworker or something like that. But use that energy to maybe motivate you to level yourself up, to whether it doesn't have to be as extreme as starting a business. It could be a side job, or just it could give you that extra motivation to go the extra mile on your own time when you do have your own time, free time, and push yourself harder. So again, that's another way that I've used that motivation, the hate towards me, the bad attitudes as fuel for my own passions. And it has worked. And it might be something that maybe INFJs or introverts perhaps can latch onto easier, maybe not. And I'm not an expert to sort of chime in on that aspect of it. But I would say in general, anybody can do it. Anybody can use the negative actions of others to actually motivate them to better themselves. And it doesn't have to be to prove it to them. You don't have to prove anything to anybody but yourself. And like I always say, if you keep improving yourself even a tiny little bit every week, every year, then you are a success. And you will always be able to look back at what you've achieved and just enjoy the fact that you never gave up. You kept fighting. And a lot of people don't do that. So if you can do that, I would be very proud of you, in the same way that I'm proud of myself for doing that. And so we got to cheer each other on who are like-minded and who just keep fighting, keep pushing themselves farther. And we're trying to better ourselves no matter what circumstances we face. So I hope this video was helpful for you, and I'll look forward to bringing you another topic soon. So until next time, I'll see you soon. Genius.